Hello and welcome to Man's Model Moments Midweek Model Meet. And it's a topic time this week, and I'm going to be talking about Telford. So that means I've got a few guests in to talk about that with us. So first of all, I'm going to bring in a fairly regular attendee and somebody who was at Telford last year. It's John Alec.
Hi, Alex. How you doing?
And how about this?
Oh,
We even have applause.
thank you, mate. I appreciate it. Good to see you.
You too. So apologies if I obviously look a bit far away. I've had another bit of a shift round, and this light is just incredibly bright. I can't make it any less bright than it is. So apologies that I do look rather in the spotlight. Kind of am. But anyway, if I'm looking more this way, it's because my camera is now straight in front of me. I have two screens either side. So
It looks fine. It looks fine to me. So yeah,
good stuff.
Well lit. Yeah.
Okay. We also have another fairly regular attendee to our streams, and that is Craig.
Very nice.
Oh, hi, Alex. Take it for Al. Hi, John. Hello, everyone.
Soundboards. I am on StreamYard again this week. It took me about half an hour to set this up. I couldn't get it working on Chrome at all. Every time I tried Chrome, it crashed out not only my camera, but also my video card. So I had to restart, reactivate the video card, and then restart again to get my computer back. It was just, at the end, I had to download Firefox. So a completely different browser. So if there was ever a time to move away from StreamYard, now is the time. And then finally, I have another guest, a new attendee to the Midweek Model Meet, and it is one of my very good channel members. It's Simon of Simon's Modelling Shed.
Nice.
Hi, Simon.
Hello, Alex. Hello, John. Hello, Greg.
Hi, Simon.
Also get a round of applause as well.
It's like being at the Palladium.
I know. Well, I couldn't.
This is my first time on Sweden.
You get that just before you leave.
Well, I've got a laugh. There we go.
You should have played that when I came in.
Any booze? Yes. Ooh.
Well, I think this is my favourite. Okay, now I've done playing. I'll go to the comments. And welcome everybody. Let's see who we got in tonight. It seems a good few of us so far. We've got Go For It Painting. Welcome. Scale Model Apprentice. We've got Bradsey. We've got Paul. We've got Stuart. Oh, I forgot a beer. Oh, I'll have to get one of those. Fortunately, got plenty of guests, so I can keep people talking and then run off and get a beer. So, we've got Philip Pascoe. We have, I think I mentioned Paul, Go For It Painting. Scale Model Apprentice. Scale Model Dave. World War II Scale Models Dave. We've got Drew. We've got Adrian. Jonux Uz7BO. That's a bit of a difficult one. Not seen you before, so welcome. We have, I can never say that, but welcome. I'm cheating now. If I'm going to use StreamYard, I'm going to take full utilization of all of its cheat mode pieces. I've got George Davies. I've got David Markey. And apologies if I miss anybody. It's not intentional. It's just going through these is sometimes quite difficult to see who you have and have called out. We've got Abraham. We've got Steve Horman. I've got Julian. Got Mark Stott. I've got, let's see, people saying good evening to each other, which is always good. Alex Smith Models. Black Skunk Works. Welcome. Travis, good to see you. And I think we're getting close to present day. Yes, I think almost there. Oh, Mystery Box Nick is here as well. And Adam Scale Modeling too. Good to see you both. That was the big. No, I was just playing around with There's got a new soundboard in StreamYard, trying to retain people. I bet whilst they're fleeing. I've also got John Christmas, Craig, of course, in the chat as well as on screen. We have. Now, is that Joe Leal or Joel Eel? But anyway, hey, Joe. Good to see you. James Carnahan. And I think that brings us up to present. So, welcome, everybody. Good to see you all. And I kind of didn't realize how close we were to Telford until I looked at scheduling, all of my model meets and, where I was going to be, the unboxings and stuff that I need to put up the post for. And then I thought, well, actually, we've only got a couple of weeks until it's Telford. And then I saw some people talking in the stream, in the Discord channel about it. And I'm like, I'm not a member of the IPMS. I haven't joined for a couple of years because last year, of course, I was a trader. So you get entry into the show as a trader, of course, as well. And I thought, I better quickly do that because I'm not even sure if I'm in time. Fortunately, it's the 31st that you can buy membership before having to do it. So I quickly did that. I booked my hotel. So I'm going to be there for 2 nights. I'm going to be there Friday night and Saturday night. So I'm going to be there for the full 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. So one of the things I wanted to do today is kind of talk a little bit about what I'm going to be doing at Telford and try and organize the social side of it, which we'll do on the Discord channel, because it's a great opportunity to meet up with people. I've been looking on TripAdvisor to look at the curry houses. So if we can get some numbers, we can get a couple of curries booked. That'll always be good. And as John knows, curry is the traditional British meal, especially in Telford, around the Midlands. And yeah, just get everybody's opinion. I know some people have asked in posts on a couple of videos over the last few days about Telford, about whether it's worth going just for a day or, what people would recommend and things. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, any questions, comments that you guys have in the chat, if you've been to Telford and have some experience of it and want to give your thoughts, please put comment or CCC in capitals just so that we can pick that out. Or QQQ or question in capitals if you've got a question about the event, or anything that's going to be happening there. So there's the first question. Which hotel are you in? Funnily enough, I was looking, and usually I get a hotel like a few miles away, often not actually in Telford itself, just outside. But this time, actually, they had availability in I think it's the Telford International Hotel.
Oh, nice.
Like right by the centre. And it was pretty reasonable. It wasn't cheap, but it was reasonable. So I'm in there. So I'm employing maximum laziness this time so I can roll out of bed and just go into the centre without having to get up really early.
No limbs have to be sold for the overnight stay then.
Exactly. Also means that if you do that for curry and I have maybe one too many, it's not too bad in the morning. I don't have to drive. Exactly. Adam Scale Modeling says, I can dream. I was going to the Scottish show, but venue cancelled and I'm working during Telford and travel costs. Yeah. And I think that is one of the things I think we should probably cover is, the cost of Telford. I mentioned in my video last year, after being a trader, I had a pretty good weekend. I only took like Sprugu and, a couple of bits that I've made myself and second-hand kits. I didn't take a huge amount of stock at all. because people who ask, I think the main two reasons that people go to most model shows is either they're looking for a bargain, they're looking for a specific kit, or they're going for the competition. I think those are the kind of two main reasons. The shopping aspect where you're looking for specific things or bargains, or the competition bit. And I think in the shopping bit, you can kind of put those two different things out as you're either looking for specific stuff, either kits or like a, I don't know, VMS like flexi epoxy or something, or a bargain. And I'm not going to compete with the likes of Jadlam and Wonderland, doing crazy deals and stuff. Because as an independent retailer, you can't afford to buy in bulk. You can't spend thousands on one kit to make a tiny margin on a show. So there is the cost aspect, obviously, not just for a trader, but sorry, the point I was making with all of that. Sorry, I had a good weekend, but I broke even. So with my takings, the profit on that basically equaled the costs that I incurred as part of the weekend. So it was a neutral experience for me, which is nice, but it was a hell of a lot of hassle. Not for nothing, but for that zero thing. And essentially I missed the show, right? And it was only down to, thanks to John Alec and his daughter looking after the stand, and a couple of other people who also did some subscribers, some actual local people that go to one of the clubs, that gave me a break to be able to get a coffee and actually have a look at the show at all. So there's the whole cost aspect. So I want to cover the kind of cost, the kind of what Telford is from those who have been, and whether you'd recommend it and how you'd recommend going, and we'll take it from there, I guess. So John Alec, you came to Telford for the first time last year, international visitor. What were your sort of main takeaways from that experience?
I loved it. So we were there for both days, Saturday and Sunday, and we were there pretty much all day, both days. So there's plenty to see. It's not like you can kind of crush it out in one day, at least for us, but that wasn't our goal, right? So we enjoyed both days. It was fantastic. As IPMS members in the United States, we got in free. I mean, that was just crazy, right? So IPMS UK honors IPMS members from the US. I went to our nationals. My daughter and we went to the nationals in August. I had to pay $20. We're both IPMS members, and we still had to pay $20 a piece to get in. It's nuts. But there's lots of space. There were three main halls. You've got clubs. The amount of models that were out that you could look at, right? So that's one highlight. There were so many interesting models to see. Vendors galore. I mean, there were just so many vendors there, like yourself, that were had small booths, big booths. They weren't all model kits. Some were tools, right? There was that one gigantic one that it must have taken them hours to set up and close down. The judging room, right? The competition room. There were at least 3 or 4 tables to look at, right? The lighting wasn't great, but there was a lot to see, and the quality of the competition builds they're just absolutely phenomenal. And it wasn't too bad getting around Telford. We stayed the place you did, right? And it was a bit out. We just Ubered in both days. There's like a mall area, right? Oh, we call it mall. There's just like a entertainment area, a dining area, whatever. I think there was a cinema there. It's right there. We grabbed dinner there on Sunday night. We went in for we had a fantastic curry meal there Saturday. That was great. So we left there just 100% happy that we had made the journey that we'd got in. We flew into Birmingham. We took the train out to Telford. Getting an Uber was really easy out there. There was no issue with that. So it was easy to get around. So in other words, if you're not driving, probably most people are coming by, they're going to drive there or whatever. But if you're not driving and you don't have a vehicle, it is easy to get around. And the one thing I'll add is, Cosford is just 10 miles west of, and Sully's there. And there's a great English breakfast place that's right off the train station there in Cosford. And we spent, I think, 4 hours there at Cosford. There was a lot to see. So it was just a fantastic A+ 5-star experience for us. Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
Yeah.
So why did you have to pay for the national stuff?
Oh, I don't know. It's terrible, right? I mean, we even had our IPMS. I think it only matters if you're like showing, right? So if you're registering a model to show or something like that. But if you're just attending, even as an IPMS member,
I think we forget that in the UK we one of the main benefits to IPMS membership is free entry to the IPMS Nationals. Excuse me. Oh, yeah. I think I should have a round of applause for that one. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think it's, we forget that the land of the free is free because they pay for everything.
Exactly. We pay more, when you think about everything. I don't want to derail this. When you think about everything that we're taxed on, we might pay more than you. Anyways, yeah. It was great. And I got to hang out with Alex. It was great. I got to meet everybody. So the social aspect of it is, it's like the biggest model show there, of course, in the UK. And there were just so many great people there that I got to meet. So if you want to meet a lot of people, it's good.
Yeah, I think, and that I think is if you think of reasons to go to Telford, for me, I mean, I mentioned, there are a couple of reasons that people go, but that was kind of in the commercial, like the shopping, what people are looking, why you wouldn't necessarily think that for a retail business, it's like, oh, Telford is a must. It's like, well, it depends. And it's because of that, people are either looking for a bargain or looking for something specific, which is why I took my secondhand stock rather than new stock, because you can get new stock anywhere, right? You can get it on the internet, you can get it at a regular shop or whatever. So, whereas a second-hand kit, it might be out of production. Telford is a great place to find like rare kits or like second-hand kits if you just want a paint mule or you want to practice on something. It's a great place to find that sort of stuff if you're not too fussy. You will pay usually if you're looking for if you're looking for something rare, because generally the traders know the value of what they're selling. So, there's that aspect. But if there's nowhere else you can get it, you're not paying sort of eBay taxes, if you like. So that's one aspect of Telford is the getting the stuff bit, right? The other that John mentioned there was the competition and the looking at the clubs and the actual models there. It's a fantastic place to get inspiration. The very first nationals I went to was one of the most inspiring events for me ever. It really opened my eyes as to what was possible in a model, right? Because at our model club was really a social club, really. We poked around at plastic, but we didn't really show us, our finished models to each other. We didn't bring those to the club, really. So to go to Telford and see that vast array and see the competition stuff and, I'd never seen little seat belts in a 1/72nd scale World War I fighter before, and it's just like, wow, didn't even realize you could get those. And of course, then you could go to a retailer and find those and buy them as well. So that whole inspiration and admiration part is another one. Or of course, if you want to participate in the competition, there's that as well. But for me, and what I personally got most out of last year is the social aspect. It's the first time I've been to Telford, with a stand, tiny little stand. And the amount of people that I saw, the amount of subscribers, the amount of people who watch content and stuff, that was fantastic, because otherwise you're, a name. I might have chatted to you on text. It's great to have Simon here because, we get a little bit of interaction here, but it's still not quite the same as seeing somebody face to face, right? I get a lot more of that now in the shop, but of course that's only limited to sort of immediate area when people make a trip. So what about you, Simon?
That's because you put a shop so far away from everybody else apart from Cornwall.
Not at all. Just off the A3. Very easy.
Right? I mean, it's an oasis, right? That's what Alex has.
Exactly.
In Canada, right?
And it's nicely positioned off the A303, so that if you're going on holiday, it's just you could easily plan a trip. Just a stop. But Simon, have you been to the Nationals?
Well, I went last year and met you.
Yes.
And that was my first time of going.
Okay, so what was your first impression then of the Nationals? For 2 days.
A lot of traders there. I was overwhelmed with the amount of traders that were there, but I'd already watched a few years on YouTube previously, and it kind of inspired me. And me and my friend just went, we'll book a ticket for the Saturday. We only went the Saturday, and as soon as we walked in, we were like, well, where do we go? we'll go around that trader. We'll go around that trader, and I thought, I'm going to be here all day. So I did one of my YouTube videos as well, and that I only did one haul out of the three. Was it 3 hauls?
Yeah.
And I did one haul out of the whole entire lot, and that's just gone rocket. I mean, it's still going up these days. But I was so impressed that I joined IPMS in January the next year, this year, and I'm looking forward to going the 2 days as an IPMS member, Saturday and Sunday.
Yes, so of course, if you're an IPMS member, and as I say, there is still time to do that. 31st of October is the cutoff date.
Yeah.
You get entry, of course, free of charge both days, but also you get entry an hour earlier than the general public. Now, people have asked, is it worth going to Telford? I would say yes. It's absolutely worth going to Telford, and it's absolutely something you should go to. I think it's something that it's a bit like Mecca for Islam, right? Everybody should go once. Having said that, I've done Telford on a day once, and only once, because I think for me there is too much in those 3 halls to do in one day. It's possible, but I mean, it's exhausting. I find going around those big shows anyway pretty exhausting. If you try and do it in a day, it's hard work. It's tough. Otherwise, you kind of feel like, okay, I've scratched the surface and I've no idea what I've missed. I mean, what do you think, Simon, as you were there for a day? Do you get that impression?
I was there till 5:30, at least all day, and I just kept going around all the traders, buying little bits. I think me and my friend came in with a bootload. But my friend's got the advantage. He's got his daughter that lives at Telford, so we've got free accommodation, and we can roll up at 9 o'clock in the morning, no trouble at all.
Yeah.
So one idea, but yeah, the social aspect. I mean, I got to meet you. I got to meet Moz. I spoke to the lady at who does ICM kit.
Valeria, yep.
Yeah, she was brilliant. She was absolutely spot on. There was Peter I got to meet as well. Peter Oxley. He was there. There was Nigel, modelling bench. There was Nigel I got to meet as well. So it was quite a lot, and a lot of the people, the club people who were showing on the clubs, the members were brilliant to talk to. As soon as I said I was like filming, they were like, yeah, go ahead, ask whatever you want. So they were pretty good as well. And some of them I went back to see after I filmed. And they were like, well, can you put a like out for us or whatever? Can you put a mention out for us? I did.
Yeah, I think it's again, for me, the social aspect. It was great to see people at the shop, and it was actually quite difficult though, because a lot of the time I get chatting to people, and then people would want serving, and of course, so you have these sort of conversations which go over half an hour, but like they're interrupted like 6 or 7 times, because of course you want to serve people, you want to give them your attention, but you also want to give attention to people who are talking to you. So it's quite difficult to manage all of that. This time I won't have that problem, so I can gab on for as long as I like. I mean, for me, it's an opportunity as well to catch up with. I've got some good friends, good modelling friends, who they live actually not that far, a bit further north from Telford, up in in the Stoke area, and of course they have their lives. They've got kids and jobs and stuff, so you sort of lose touch through the year. But Telford is that kind of place where everybody comes together, so you see those people again, and again, seeing people physically is different than just chatting to them on Discord or even over video. So that to me is a great part of it. And again, if you're there for one day, it can be a bit like, if you're talking to somebody and it's kind of like, say it's 5 o'clock and you meet somebody you've not seen for a year, you really want to give them the attention, but you're also aware that the thing closes in half an hour. So it's just like that. Yeah, it's you're split. Whereas if you're there for 2 days, it's just like, it doesn't matter. I'll catch up with stuff tomorrow. So it takes some of that pressure off. And
the other aspect is that I managed to be a good, get in with Luke, who Black Rifles.
Yeah, Revel.
I'm going to try and bring one of my models to display on his table. So I've asked him, so hopefully I can do that, bring one to show on the table. So hopefully one of my models will be there on the table for everybody to see.
On Black Rifle models?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So yeah, Luke said anybody that wants to bring something, just get in touch with him. So I did.
Yeah, and then the other aspect, actually, because they're because when you said Luke to start with, I was thinking, Luke from Revel, but of course no, Luke from Black Rifle. But of course there are all of the manufacturers there, and Valeria, of course, from ICM was there last year. Dale is always there. Whenever he can be. I think he has missed it once, but I think because he had some family stuff, or maybe it was not Telford, but it gives you an opportunity to talk to people from the manufacturers directly. they are obviously showcasing their what's coming up. You know, we got to see the Lysander last year. We got to see the Gloucester Meteor that Revell haven't quite yet brought out. It's supposed to be coming, but not yet. But they also showed their F-35, which has been out, and their Jim Hopper's Chevy Blazer, and so it's good to be able to go and see those new things. I expect we'll probably, hopefully, because the hobby company usually has a stand for Teleri and Tamiya, so hopefully we'll see the new 1/72nd scale F-14 bits on the stand there. Let's keep our fingers crossed for that one. That looks pretty good.
ICM have had a setback, haven't they?
Yes. So those of you who have seen the Tuesday talk yesterday, or have been on Facebook, will have seen that ICM had a missile strike right next to the building and take out basically the whole side of the building. Nobody was injured. Everybody's okay. But of course, this happened at the end of August, so they only just posted it now, which I think says a lot about somebody if they're just like, they're just carrying on. It's not like all about them and like, oh, feel sorry for us. No, they just like mentioned it now, 2 months afterwards. So obviously we haven't seen the Hampton from them yet, which we were expecting. But knowing that they've had half of their building blown out, it's like, well, yeah, it kind of makes sense. It's remarkable that they're making anything,
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it was great to see Valeria, and she invited me to a talk that she was giving, showing sort of some of the history of ICM and what they're doing, and getting all of the big injection molding machines into the building, and their CNC and designers, all that kind of stuff, which was great. A bit of a glimpse behind the curtain. So it's there's that whole aspect, and of course, if you're staying for a couple of days, the social aspect doesn't necessarily stop at 5:30 when you all go back to your hotel, because then you're meeting up with people in the evening, and just socializing, just having a curry and a beer and chewing the fat. So
definitely be up for the curry with you.
yes. So I'll be collecting numbers on the Discord. So if anybody wants to join, do pop onto the Discord. So we've got a private members Discord for channel subscribers, for channel members, Patreon members, and we'll get together the numbers, and then I'll try and get a table booked for that. Hopefully we can get one. So Craig, you've not been to Telford for good reason.
No, other than watching everybody's YouTube channels. Unfortunately, it lands at a really awkward time of the year for a good proportion of those that are veterans and those that do Remembrance Sunday. So probably, I'm just trying to think, probably for the last 20 years, certainly since I left the Navy and been in the fire service, I've done something on Remembrance Sunday every year. I've been down to the Cenotaph 3 times and been part of that. I was there last year. I've locally laid the wreath for our service in Darlington on 2 occasions. I've been to watch my sons marching with the cadets. I've gone as just a member of the public with my poppy to watch the whole thing. So it comes on up for me an odd weekend. It doesn't mean that I'm going to do it all the time, because it's getting to the point where I'm going to have to sacrifice something. Well, actually, what I'll probably do is I'll book a ticket for both days, and I'll attend a local remembrance service in Telford, and then catch the afternoon on the Sunday in that form. And I'll look to probably try and do it next year. But yes, there's definitely an urge for me to go. I mean, I go to a couple of small shows. I think it's the scale that will probably be what I'll find. I wouldn't say daunting, but I think it's because I want to see everything. So
Yeah.
And then when you start adding that social aspect in, because we talk to so many people on these different groups, and you might have gathered I do like to talk. It's I'm going to have to do it quite well, and I don't want to end up in the movie Hangover scenario, and replacing Las Vegas for Telford, and end up waking up in the morning on a hotel roof and not remember what happened the night before.
With your face tattooed, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
big tribal tattoo around your eye.
Yeah, with somebody having tattooed an Airfix symbol across my chest, but written the words "rebel" in the middle.
Yeah, I mean that is kind of one of those aspects. In fact, Alex Smith Models says, I was going to say I've been modeling for the last 5 years, but would have no one to go with me, so end up walking around on my own. So that is one aspect that I think we, perhaps don't consider. I mean, I've been to Telford with friends. I've been to Telford by myself. I'm comfortable with that, but a lot of people wouldn't necessarily be. And Telford is the international centre at Telford. It's all 3 halls are used. This last year, they also broke out into some of the supporting rooms so that they could get the competition area away from the main bit, which I think was a good move. They were aware of the poor lighting issue, which hopefully they'll address this time. But it was definitely better than the prior year where it was in the main hall, and it kind of takes a big chunk out, and people waiting to go and look at the competition area sort of causes a bit of a jam as well. So, it is a social event. So anything social, anything that has a lot of people there, especially if you're going and looking at stuff. Sorry, I've just realized my camera's reversed. I was looking, there's something wrong with my symbol. What is it? And it's backwards because the camera's reversed. But StreamYard. I have to put it back down, mirror it. There we go. There we go. That's better. I was thinking I look weird. Why is it weird? It's like my parting's on the wrong side. Sorry, I threw myself there. So it's if you're going and looking, especially if you're looking at a competition, it's a bit like when Maria goes back to Spain, right? She goes roughly 3 or 4 times a year. And we're both pretty independent. We're both quite capable of looking after ourselves. But the thing is, if you're with somebody else, it's like if you're just watching something, even if it's not something you're particularly interested in, it's that commentary and interaction. It's just like that you miss, right? And going by yourself to a show, you can't say, "Oh, that's a really nice model, that one," or I'm particularly inspired by that one. If you're just by yourself. Right, so it can be a bit daunting to go by yourself because it's the largest model show in the world still, and that is I'm used to scientific conferences and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you know the San Diego International Center, the big conference center, John?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been there a few times for climate.
I mean, that thing is
gigantic,
huge. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know, what is it, like a mile long or something ridiculous? But so scientific conferences, I'm used to that, so I'm used to the thing. Those aren't really social because
no,
they're kind of
you're always talking business with somebody, talking science. Yeah.
So it's a bit of a different atmosphere, but I kind of come from that background, so I'm used to that kind of thing. So it doesn't really faze me. But if you don't like crowds, I think putting into all 3 halls and having the breakout bits reduces that, because it doesn't. I don't think it really feels crowded. You can usually maneuver your way through. It's not like packed, But there's thousands of people there, spread out across all those areas. So. It can feel a little overwhelming. I always find it's quite useful to sort of just chunk it, just break it down, just focus on, because you can't look at everything at once, right? You can't take the whole thing in. So if you're just going, line by line, and then you're focusing, you're chunking it down into the lines, then you're going into the individual table, and then usually you're having one-to-one discussions with people. And we get quite a lot of European clubs come over. And it's always interesting because they usually bring snacks. So if you go to, and it was in the first hall you got into last year. I don't know, they sometimes change the order. But you could tell the international ones because they all have usually their flags, on their tables as well. IPMS Belgium or whatever. And then, various snacks. You might get chocolates on one, or you get like little biscuits on another. So that's quite nice. So don't have too big a breakfast if you're an IPMS member and go there.
Jelly babies. Jelly beans.
But,
best bacon on earth, man.
Jelly beans and jelly babies. Yeah.
Sounds like the Great North Run. You get fed the entire distance, 13.5 miles. And then they're shoving sweeties and jelly babies and cakes and beer into your face all the way around.
Well, that actually does kind of come into it in terms of the cost aspect, right? Because probably the one area of the show that I would say is, it's not that it's poorly catered for, but there is an on-site cafe, so you can get bacon rolls and you can get dinner, and you can get fed there pretty easily. It's not particularly cheap.
No.
As with any conference center, and that's nothing to do with the IPMS. That is purely, it's the Telford International Center that run all of that. It's a captive audience, right? There have, in the last 5 years, I think, grown up a lot more. There is a car park directly opposite the center. There used to be just that car park. Now, by the side of it, is pedestrianized. There's a couple of hotels, and there's like shops and stuff. I think there's a cash point there as well. So it's a lot easier. You don't have, there's a big multi-story across the road as well, across the main road, which is where I used to park. And it's like multi-story, tons of parking there. It's pretty reasonable. And beyond that is like what John was saying, the Telford sort of shopping mall place. So it's easy if you're prepared to walk for 15 minutes to not have that. But if you do want to be on site, it is, obviously, it's not the best food. It's not the cheapest food, but you won't starve. So that's one of the kind of choices you have to make. I think, like with any sort of conference or show or exhibition or anything like that, a little bit of preparation goes a long way. If you're just going to go and prepared to spend, and you've got all the money in the world, then it's not an issue, right? You can just pay whatever. Most of us aren't in that position. And I would probably rather spend, a little bit more on a kit that I wanted than, an overpriced burger. So that's just me. The important thing to note about Telford, there is no cash facility on site. So that's a really big one, because a couple of years ago, Edward actually were there, but they were only accepting cash. It was probably to dodge some like tax thing, or I don't know. But there is no cash facility at the center itself. You have to go off-site to get cash.
Yeah.
So just if you're planning to pay cash, and of course, some of the second-hand models, traders and stuff don't take cards. So, the actual internet facilities as well, the mobile signal in the center is garbage. So if you want to get away from, text messages and stuff, Telford's a good thing. Because it's almost impossible you can't call anybody from there. I tried live streaming from there a couple of years ago, and it's just impossible. So yeah, there are a few things to note, but there aren't anything really much different than you would have, going to the Excel Center or, the Birmingham, the NSD, something.
Yeah.
So they're just big exhibition place things, Now, I just want to come back to the comments because I've been talking a little bit. And oh, sorry to hear that, Phil. Bit late, car broke down, needed recovery. Oh dear, that's unfortunate. Hope that goes well and isn't too expensive. Julian says, I think there's a difference going somewhere alone when you know nobody there or going alone when you know several people there. Yeah, I think that's very true. I think if you're going there and you know there will be people that you can say hello to, I always liken it to if you're going to a friend's wedding or you're going to a family wedding. If you're going to a family wedding, you might not want to go, but when you're there, you'll know almost everybody, right? At least on one half of the of the side. You're going to a friend's wedding, you'll probably know a couple of people, and everybody else not so much. So, and if you're going to somewhere where you don't know anybody, I mean, I've been to exhibitions like scientific exhibitions and stuff by myself, and that sucks.
Billy No Mates.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing. I mean, the worst thing there, at least with Telford or another model show, there's other stuff to do, right? You're not there for other people specifically. You can look at models, you can buy stuff, and you can leave. You don't get that luxury if you're there for work. Paul Dye says cost and distance keeps me away. Unfortunately, haven't been for over 15 years. I would recommend it though. Yeah, so going back to the cost piece, I mean, Telford it doesn't have to be expensive, but it can be expensive, right? I think if it's a long way for you, and this is again why I would recommend, if you can go for the 2 days, I would recommend going for the 2 days. Now, that does, of course, mean that you have to incorporate some sort of hotel or, some sort of plans to stay somewhere. I think that's got a lot better now with things like Airbnb and, the actual cost of the accommodation, because you don't have to stay in Telford, right? I actually went with my son one year and we stayed in a village about 15 miles away. We went out, watched a film in the evening and stuff. So you don't have to, stay at the International Centre like I am this year. You can get, minimize that, because if you think about, you're already spending the money to travel there. That small increase for the accommodation for a whole extra day, I think in terms of the overall value is worth it, because there's so much to see. You won't. I don't think you'll get bored. Let's put it that way.
I was going to say, I mean, if you're only going for 1 day, your minimum cost is £25 and your fuel.
Yep.
If you don't want to spend anything inside, if you just want to go see the models and to socialise with everybody, then you pay the £25 and that's your minimum cost of getting in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's money-wise, it's unless you're going to take £1,000 or something, or a big wad of cash in your wallet, then yeah, you can go and spend all that money on everything that you want and go home with a big smile and you're happy person. But
I mean, you could easily use, I mean, you can easily use Telford to buy your models for the coming year. I mean, you have no problem in doing that. There'll be enough traders with enough bargains and enough second-hand stuff there that you could find all that you could possibly reasonably expect to do in a year, and probably more. So I feel the main cost of Telford for most people is probably going to be what you're going to spend there, rather than the cost of the travel and any accommodation.
Well, I mean, I went last year, and obviously I went with just a vague thing in meeting up with people, socialising, seeing the models, just enjoying myself. I didn't go with spending a fortune or anything like that. I came away with quite a bit because I obviously went around the vendors been one by one. But this year I've given myself a list, which might stick to. I don't know. No, but I've got a list.
You're lying. You'll never stick to your list.
No. Well, the top of the list is Monty's office. If it comes out, if it's there, the Monty's office. That's the only one I want. That's the one that's top of the list. Anything else is a bonus.
I think I've got one of these here, actually.
What, Monty's office?
Yeah. Yeah, there.
How did you get one?
Monty's Caravan. It's been out for a while.
Oh, the caravan. Oh, yes.
Oh, the office. Okay. Okay.
Ah, this is the second one. With
Yeah.
with the figures. But it should be out.
Darcy says, hopefully be my first visit since the Nationals at Donington in 1995. Been away from the hobby for a long while. I mean, the show has changed a lot since it was held back in Donington. I mean, some of those things are definitely for the better. Some of those things they no longer do the kit swap that they used to do, which I think some people miss. But it does make the actual show easier, and there's no, like other model shows, you'll get trading sometimes under the table, they call it, at the club stands. That's not allowed at Telford. So it's you're only going to buy from traders. So there's no other sales there. So that's one of the aspects that people notice the difference, let's say, from a smaller show. I don't think it detracts from it at all, because if you can imagine, with the scale of the show, people stopping in the aisles to look under tables would be an absolute nightmare. So, whereas I think now, I mean, I've been like for a long time, and in the the late 90s, it was packed. I mean, it was a lot more rammed together, and it was difficult to actually get between things. I mean, now wheelchair access is pretty good. You can get a wheelchair through all of the aisles, and in fact, you could probably have two-way wheelchair traffic down most of the aisles in Telford now. So, an access point of view, an accessibility point of view, that's great, and much better than it used to be. So, and I think the IPMS. Sorry, Simon.
Could clubs get away with that? If they had anything for sale, could they put it on the table rather than under the table?
No, they just basically all accept, because they're all IPMS clubs, of course. So if they did that, they'd just be like revoked or something. I think it's a small price to pay for the upsides.
Wait to the local ones, I suppose. Yeah.
Peter says, I drive to Telford with 3 club mates. We split the fuel bill, get together for meals and drinks. At the show, we split up so we can focus on our specific interests. 2 days is tight to see it all. Yeah. Yeah, you see, I feel that. I feel that 2 days is just enough to get everything done. I did it in one day, 1 year, and I felt that I had made a mistake. You're probably right there as well, Graham. It's the YouTubers annual meet.
I agree with you, Graham.
We're like crows around a graveyard, picking the meat out of it.
I think with the distance involved with me, I'd probably do what Peter was doing. I've got enough friends around here that'd be interested in going, and that's probably the way we do it. Is we'd book early, get a travel lodge with 3 twins in, split the room costs, split the fuel, and then have an enormous bar bill at the end.
Get an Airbnb one. One of them.
Yeah, something we probably end up doing something like that. And knowing if it's just travel from the northeast and go down. I'm probably trying to think. It's probably about 3.5 hours.
Yeah,
which in itself is insurmountable. It's just an early start. I mean, I did London the other day. I did, out the door, up at 5, out the door at 6, and in London for 10:20. So I'm not going to complain. And that was in the car.
Yeah, and again, that's another thing that there's people's choice, right? So I'm spending 2 nights in a hotel because I hate getting up early in the morning. So I would much rather, and as a trader, you have to, right? I'm not going as a trader this year, but I'll still claim it back against tax, obviously. Because it's a work activity, because I'll cover it on a job. I would much rather drive in the evening, go to the hotel, be relaxed, get a good night's sleep, get up at a reasonable time, have a nice breakfast, and be fresh as a daisy, rather than getting up at some godforsaken time where it's still dark.
Yeah, and driving up there.
Yeah, no. I'll have to drive back in the dark, so that's fine. I would much rather do it that way. Actually, I believe my room has 2 double beds. So if anybody is looking to stay at Telford and doesn't have a room, I'm more than happy to split. If anybody's interested, again, just get in touch through either the Discord or the channel email address, which is on the About section of the channel. Because I've no problem with sharing. And
caveat, can't snore.
Caveat. I don't believe I snore because I've never heard it. But Maria claims that I do. So yeah, you have been warned. There's a caveat to the offer. It may come with some downsides.
Mine shifted rooms. I snore so much.
And that's the neighbours. That's the neighbours that tell you that, John.
We have had a noise complaint from the council, but Julian says, I have no independent transport, so for me it would be trains plus taxi plus hotel plus entry fee. Guessing £250 to £300, so not worth it for me. So Julian, I think that's one of the things, with the Discord group, with all of the channel members, that we can maybe mitigate that, and actually, again, it requires planning, right? So that it would obviously be for 2026, but if I don't know where in the world you are, Julian, off the top of my head, because I have a memory like a sieve. But if we can organise somebody who's there, who's going, who's close by, and then that's that helps you both out in terms of travel costs, right? And then we can organise, maybe a shared accommodation. I think having the channel membership is a great way of being able to do this sort of stuff, because I think missing out just because of all the issues with travel and stuff is a poor reason to be prevented from doing it. Now, you may not want to share a car with some of us, but that'll be your choice then. So, but again, maybe that's something we can organise for next year.
We need a bus crate from the northeast.
A man's model moments minibus.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a song about that. That's it. We're all the young one style. I'm not going on the front grille.
There might be afterwards. Martin says, I had something happen to me at Telford last year that I've never experienced before. I was in my wheelchair and my carer had gone to the loo and I got pushed out of the way by some stranger. Wow.
That's just all I thought about that was how rude.
Yes.
Rude.
Well, as I've mentioned before, modelers are a cross-section of the community, and unfortunately, there's a small percentage of the world who are just assholes.
Yeah.
There's
You're
no
gonna have
excuses.
assholes everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Plenty of them here.
Yeah. So Rally Chef's Model Shed. That's a good name. I love the avatar too. Accommodation doesn't have to be expensive. I have used the same shared house Airbnb on the outskirts of Telford, less than £120 for 3 nights, 12 minutes on the bus, 2-day ticket ride to £12. There you go. Yeah.
Happy days.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's planning. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't plan, and it's cost me more, but actually not a huge amount more. Yeah.
We'll start the rumours now. Do you think that's to change the topic slightly? Do you think there's going to be anything new from the big makers?
Well, that's the other aspect of Telford, isn't it? It's usually used by Airfix for their big release, their big surprise release. We've just had the not new Mosquito with modified bits to kind of fix one of the prior issues and give a couple more schemes, which I think is, it's fine as a release. It's nice, but that does kind of say to me we will probably get something bigger at Telford. Now this year I have no clue what that might be. I really couldn't guess that. I don't know. You guys have any? So was that so?
Another 1/24 scale.
What I'd like to say is a 1/48 scale tornado. If they did a 1/48 scale tornado, I think they'd be able to just print money from them.
As long as they get it right.
As long as it came with the right nose on it, yeah.
Now, come on, guys, stop it! You give me a bad name.
Just have to
They
get
usually announce those on the Friday, right? It's kind of a big deal. There's a bit of fanfare, and yeah.
I'm just trying to think what we've had recently.
There's been zero hints or clues about what it might be. Yeah.
I actually quite like that, though. I quite like a surprise. Like the Lysander. The Lysander came out of left field for me. I think it was perfect for kind of Airfix to do. So a bit like the Bulldog. I mean, I don't think it was the greatest release, but it was nice to see something different. And the Ferret.
Everybody said for a long time they wanted a Jaguar. It's come through. It's like thinking about what's the next largest thing that people are asking for. What are Airfix constantly getting tapped for making that obviously doesn't float on water.
I'm
speaking because I like my floaty things, but I'm wondering if it is the Tornado. I'd love to see the Nimrod come back as a classic, but I don't know whether they've still got the tooling for that.
I think the Nimrod is a difficult one because it's actually a pretty decent kit. I've got one at the shop in almost finished configuration, but it comes with a difficult. It's a bit like the Lightning and the TSR2. All of those, I call them transitional period. That they are not old enough really to be vintage classics, and they're not new enough to be, as Dale said, worthy of a red box. I think that's his kind of standard of that he applies to it. Are they worthy of the new red Airfix box? And I think basically anything that isn't the Hornby era CAD designed stuff isn't.
Because the Lynx is coming out, isn't it? The Lynx is due out this year, and that's a red box, isn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, I've got a couple of Lynxes in the shop, I think.
Last year, selling the Nimrods. at Telford. He was selling them off at 50 quid each.
Yeah, which isn't bad actually. That's not bad at all.
He was matching Airfix's Buccaneer for 50 quid.
It's a big kit for, especially for 50 quid. It's 132nd Spitfire 12 with a tornado body. I mean, it's possible if extremely improbable.
That's a kit bash. Still kit bash.
Scale Model Apprentice says, I'd have to start planning now if I were to make it for 2027. The US passport system is very slow. I wonder if Edward has any announcements planned. I'll get in touch with John Alec. He's a master of negotiating the US Postal and Immigration Service.
Whereas the UK Immigration Service, you just need a rubber boat and you just need to board it in France.
Remain uncontroversial.
Sorry, I'm getting your show political. Sorry, I better shut up before I'm kicked.
Nobody's getting a passport right now because we're closed. But.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I mean, I suppose it's one thing in Britain we get right. You can, if I didn't have a passport, I could fill the paperwork out, take a picture, book an appointment, and go to my local passport office in Durham, and by the end of the day, I'd have my passport. It's just, absolutely, the speed at which stuff like that happens is absolutely phenomenal.
It's amazing how efficient our government can be if you pay for it. I mean, you will end up paying 4 times as much for your passport.
We pay extra to get it within 6 weeks. You pay like a full-blown premium for expedited service.
How much is that? Sorry, how much is that, John?
Oh, hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. I think it's about £115 is what we pay for the passport, and you'll get that. It's essentially next day. Once you've got your booking, you just go in, get it, and collect.
So we pay twice that just to get it within 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Oh.
Yeah. Anyways.
Interesting. Adam Scale Modeling says, traveling from Dundee, 0 people to travel with, it'd be lonely, travel, and expensive. Do you know what, though, Adam? The cheapest way to travel, and because I used to do this a lot with business, right? If you're traveling a long distance, like I used to go to Glasgow quite a lot because my company was based, or the UK headquarters was based in Paisley, which is right next to, well, actually, not quite, but right next to the airport. You could see the airport from our office, basically. And I just used to fly. Flying was way cheaper than, especially if you're doing it in advance. If you know when it is, you can get a low-cost carrier. I mean, Maria does it. I mean, Maria goes to Barcelona 4 times a year. I think it costed more than €100 return each time. And that's a 2-hour flight. I used to fly to Glasgow from Bristol. I got on once, and it was packed full because the prior day's flight had been cancelled. So it had all the people on that from it as well. And it was quite a late flight. And I ended up sitting next to a lady who was down for her birthday. So it'd been her birthday. So I said, we should have some drinks this your birthday. And the drinks cart came along, and they were doing this offer of like 3 for 2 or 50 something.
Quid.
So we got 2 each, right? And by the time the cart got to the end of the aircraft, they just basically turned around and came back to get all your empties, because then it was like packing up. So we were just having to throw these beers down because you're in the air for 14 minutes tops, So whereas obviously the fuel itself, if you were driving, would probably be more than the cost of the flight. So sometimes it's ridiculous. You spend literally more time in the airport beforehand checking in than you do actually spend in the air, which is, it does make it quite a short trip. But sometimes flying is actually way cheaper. A 1/72nd scale blue streak. Now, that would be really interesting. Paul, if If that's true, I will buy you one.
What's the blue three?
Martin says a 124 scale pink PR Spitfire. Same goes, Martin. Great suggestions, but if these actually happen. A more sensible question for the panel. Which do you think Airfix will more likely go for? 135th military vehicle or aircraft in 148th or 124th?
I reckon it'd be a 148 aircraft.
I think I have to agree. I think, I was thinking about their 135th releases, their plane releases. I'm going with Craig's call. I think it's going to be some sort of 148th spectacular plane release. Yeah.
Merlin. 148 Merlin. There's so many variants of it now. It's even with just the air variant. Both carriers have the Merlin on. A lot of the Type 45 has the Merlin on. It's not a kit that they could release and they'd be stuck for re-releases. You could probably.
I don't think it'll be a Merlin because they've already done a scale.
Somebody mentioned the Halifax, or maybe one of the other.
You see, a one
or something.
I mean, personally, I don't think it will be a 135th scale military vehicle.
No, they produce those during the year anyway.
Yeah, I think I think an aircraft is almost certain. The scale of it,
a B-17.
Yeah.
I mean, it could. I mean, a 72nd scale Halifax would be great. But again,
I've got one.
I just think it's.
Oh, right. They might do it in 72nd scale. Yeah.
Yeah, because they did the 410, but then, which again had a bit of controversy.
And the Liberator.
Yeah. Liberator was one of their standard announcements, though, wasn't it? I think it was at the beginning of the year.
Correct. Yeah, that wasn't Telford. Yeah.
Yeah, would they step on ICM's toes and do it Hampton?
No, because unless they've already, because again, it takes 18 months to 2 years to produce a kit, or up to 3 years really. And ICM only announced it 18 months ago. So unless they immediately jumped onto the design and said, right, we've got to get this before ICM, which let's face it, it's not a competitive industry in that way. And they do it in 72nd scale, I think, as well, because that wouldn't compete either. But they re-released the Vintage Classic, which is not a great kit. So I don't think so. But I think the thing is, with the whole competition thing, like doing something that somebody else is going to do, like a Gloucester Meteor, they could do a 48 scale, a 32nd scale, or they wouldn't do 32nd scale because they don't do them, but they could do a 24 scale Meteor, right, to compete with as well. But that's the thing; it would be competing. So you're trying to split a small group. It's not like you're going to have those same people buy a 32nd scale and a 24th, because they're both going to be huge. And the 32nd scale, let's face it, is going to be more manageable than a 24 scale Meteor, which is going to be the 32nd scale Meteor is about the same size as a 24 scale Spitfire. So can you imagine how big it's going to be in 24 scale? Well, it's easy because you just take another 50%.
What about one of those?
Oh,
That's what a funky looking plane, man.
Plane on your mother could love.
Yeah.
Now I feel I'm being trolled now. An upgraded Belvedere in 148 scale. you know what? If Airfix did a 148 scale Belvedere, I would bite their hands off. I'd love to do a decent Belvedere. I was waiting for was it the Dora Wings that announced the 77 scale Belvedere? And it hasn't arrived yet, so maybe that'll come at Telford. You know?
Because I think next year will probably be a new 124 124th aircraft, because I think they've probably got as many iterations as they can at the moment out of the Spitfire.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you underestimate them, surely.
You know, it's because they've got the molds and everything. They can backseat it for a couple of years, bring something else through. So that's next year. I'd love to see another big Mozzie come through as well, because you just can't get them. You can't get them second hand now. And if they put the detail that they put into the 124 Spitfire into a Mosquito,
Oh yeah,
they won't have to sell that. It'll sell itself if it comes out as well as the original Spitfire did. That'd be marching out the doors itself. It'd be an awful lot of plastic, but.
So, putting my business hat on, right? There's inward groans in the chat. I've got a sound for that.
Poo my idea.
I've got a Stream Deck which I must find, which I'll get some sounds on, so that I don't have to keep swapping. Because at the moment I have to keep swapping from comments to media assets, which is a pain. I don't think they're going to do anything huge. I think a 124 scale kit is off table. If you look at what they've been doing in terms of cost cutting, cost saving, whatever you want to call it. And 2 years ago, they had their 3-year plan, I think it was, to get back to profitability. I think it was 3 year, it might be 5 year. I think it was 3. They've saved $1 million on staffing costs this year with the move away from and this is all from Margate staff, away from their warehouse and everything. I think the investment in a sizable tool like that, which has, I think, fairly limited returns in Hornby's eyes, I think they're looking for making not less investment, but a tool which will sell more at a reasonable profit margin, rather than big ticket items which sell less at maybe a slightly higher one. So
the cost to the customer.
Peter, I don't know whether that's just Dale trolling Moss. It could be, because they have that relationship.
Moss will be what's the word? Not inconsolable. He'd be locked away for weeks.
The thing is, the Bearcat, whatever you think of it, is not a very popular release. It's not the sort of thing that, I wouldn't buy a Bearcat. I think it's pretty ugly.
I'd never even heard of it before Moss.
Yeah,
and I'm American.
Hopefully, he doesn't hear us talking and hears me say that I think it's quite.
Never heard of it. Yeah.
It's it doesn't have that general appeal, or a nostalgia factor for Airfix's core base. And if you think Airfix's core base is the UK, and to a lesser extent, and much less so at the moment because of all the tariff stuff and them closing Hornby US distribution, like Americans that like quirky British subjects, and Europeans that like the quirky British stuff, especially like World War II, Cold War, that kind of stuff. When we actually invented stuff. So I think if you look at what is there in those sort of spaces, what is quintessentially British, that has a more general appeal, I think those are the kind of subjects you need to start looking at to see, what Airfix could do. Could they do iterations on the Star Wars? You know, they could do. I mean, maybe a salamander or a Saladin, or you know, because that already has. You know, if you think the Stalwart development line, they go to the Stalwart to completion. Before they get to that completion, they could have also branched off, and it's just like, right, we can use all of these components, and we just need to add these frames on. We design those frames to make a Saladin armored car, for instance, or a Saracen or whatever. You know, I can see them doing that kind of thing because it's getting more bang for their buck. You know.
I'm gonna say if Moz gets his bear cat, I want a hippo doing. If you know what a hippo is, you'll be all right.
The Bearcat did miss out on its chances to shine, but then so did quite a lot of other aircraft. You know, I mean, a lot of the fame of aircraft comes from, you know, happenstance and chance, doesn't it? I mean, just thinking again. I mean, if they did a new tooled Lightning in 48 scale, I'm sure that would sell very well.
Yeah.
You know, if they did a brand new TSR2, again, it would probably sell well. I think both of those are fairly unlikely. I'd love that.
The TSR2.
ENLS, a new 124 scale Hurricane. I'd love Airfix to do a 124 scale 109, like E or F to go. I mean, they could do the E and the F and the G.
Yeah,
from some, you know,
that was in the back of my thoughts. That out of everything that's come through so far, we haven't seen a new 109.
Yeah, because that 109E that they did, you know, which was 24 scale, went with the Spitfire and stuff, was, you know, of its time. Oh yeah, so Adam said, yeah, updated 148 scale English electric Lightning, because again, that falls into that same awkward period, that sort of, you know, transition years where the tooling was better. I mean, the 48 scale Buccaneer, if you think, was from that time. The first one they did, they retooled that completely, right? So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that they would do it again for something like the Lightning, which it's a bit odd, I think, that they did the Buccaneer, because I think the Buccaneer was, you know, it's an okay kit. It wasn't the best, but then you could say that as the Lightning, and I would have thought the Lightning was a more popular aircraft than the Buccaneer, but who knows?
I like Andy's suggestion.
What's that?
No, you'll come to it in a second. You need a second house to be able to build that.
A Sunderland, a 124 Sunderland.
Sunderland, yeah, you need another room. You need a professional paint booth to be able to paint that.
You just get a car place to do it.
Yeah, I'd have to take it to work to where we paint our fire appliances. I'd be like, well, we'll be kicking them out. What are you doing? I'm just wheeling this in. It's bad enough having the Yamato to paint. I had to take that into the garage to do.
124 scale sometimes.
Right, because that's like a meter or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we are pretty well served, really. You know, overall in the modelling world, and I mean, if again, just pulling it back to Telford, if you can't find what you're looking for at Telford, then there's a good chance that it's like almost impossible to get. I mean, Moss picked up the Airfix B1B at Telford last year, which I saw it and thought, I'm tempted by that, but I know Moss is looking for one, and left it and said when he came that I don't know whether he bought that one. I think it was that one.
Is it Revell that did a B1B as well?
In 48 scale, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think was originally Monogram that did it. And then Revell inherited the toolings when they bought them. So Telford, I just realised in recent times that I can do a poll on here. I did one the other day. I don't know whether you can do it through StreamYard. I don't know how to do that. Because I did it with the YouTube one when I was using OBS the other day. I was going to say who is going, but I don't know how to do that, so I can't ask that. Emma, the parking in Telford is pretty okay. I mean, obviously, if you're staying at one of the hotels, then you can park at the hotel. There is a big multi-story car park, which is so the International Centre is kind of on a little bit of a there's the main road sort of going through, and there's a set of traffic lights. You turn left to go to the centre. If you carry on and go around, and you take the next right, basically there's a big car park there. You have to go right and then turn right into it. I usually park there. The parking is pretty reasonable. I think it's actually for the it's one of the car parks for the shopping mall. And there are quite a few, but that's the closest to the International Centre. And there's a pedestrian crossing that actually just gets you across the way. I wouldn't park actually at the International Centre because it's always packed. There's always a massive queue. That's what the queue is always tailed back to, like where you come off the motorway roundabout. It's always because of people turning left there to get into that car park, which is always full. So I wouldn't recommend that. It's also really expensive, I believe. But I parked there last year because I was a trader, so I got free parking. But if you're not a trader, I wouldn't recommend that one.
I saw Craig had one earlier, so I thought, okay.
Go for refill.
I have certainly not grown tired of my Liberator T-shirt. It's in there. I mean, we've all seen the, Airfix do their space rounds. It would be great if they had, a license for some of the old British, TV show stuff. Because can you imagine Airfix tooling an injection molded Liberator? That would be fantastic.
Oh yeah.
The thing that went in Apollo 13.
We produced more of those in the B-17. It could carry more load than a B-17, but the B-17 got all the glory.
Don't get me started on the B-17.
Okay.
I built one of those 2 years ago as one of my return kits, and it went together beautifully. It was an absolutely lovely kit. Lovely kit to build.
I did the Ravel, which is of course the monogram 48 scale for the Wincanton Museum. That's a horrible kit.
But I very nearly pushed the button on the bloody 100th one that HK have got from Edward.
Oh wow!
I've got one in the shop.
I know you have. It's been in and out of my basket 3 times, and I've closed it. I took my phone, and then thought, no, I thought better of it. But it's a lovely kit, and you get it's great, isn't it? It's we'll do that. We have a squadron of.
I haven't even painted it yet. I didn't.
Yep. Oh man, that looks great. Yep.
I'm actually struggling now for places to put them up, and I think my wife will start kicking off if stuff starts migrating upstairs. I have no idea because we're probably going to move in a couple of years, and I have no idea where I'm going to put stuff because I'm kind of goose stripped. Good night, Julian.
Take care, Julian.
Yeah, absolutely. The B-24 was a better airplane. A bitch to fly. Yeah.
Oh,
Night, Julian.
Yeah, I was really interested, and you've seen the oh god, what was it called? Unbroken, the film
yes.
about
Yeah, they're a liberator, right?
yeah, true story. You can tell it's a true story because only 2 of them make it out of the Liberator. Well, 3, but one of them dies in the boat. Yeah, I mean, who could have? I mean, they were told, right, go and find the crew of this other Liberator that went down. Their aircraft was shot up, so they couldn't take it. And they're like, oh, use the one which they, take all the bits off to make all the others fly. Like, well, the lieutenant says it's airworthy. They all knew it wasn't. And what happened? It failed.
Yeah, they went down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is a blue streak? Is that a helicopter from the movie? No.
Yeah, what is a blue streak? I hadn't.
It's our Britain's first rocket, wasn't it? First
jet plane.
was it the nuclear weapon that went underneath the Victor, or was the Vulcan, or was it the Britain's first
a deployable weapon? Okay.
So let me get a
Blue Thunder is the one that I can remember, which was a Gazelle with a Gazelle helicopter with an awful lot of body kits put on it.
Correct.
Ironically, and I should just show this to everybody. Share screen. Ironically,
yes.
this blue streak missile is in a museum in Germany.
That's a nice place to be.
What?
So that is a blue streak.
Yeah, there's one at the Aerospace Museum in Leicester.
It looks very Thunderbirds, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's at the end of it is not pointy enough. Yeah, there's definitely one at the Space Museum in Leicester.
So I found one. I found ones in Scotland, Belgium, Germany. There's the Leicester one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I took my children to that one.
Is that where they got the idea for the lightning?
I mean, next to the US there, it looks
just
pretty basic, doesn't it?
Strap a pilot in a greenhouse halfway down it, and away you go.
I mean, it kind of looks rather industrial, doesn't it? I mean, next to the US missile there, it's just like looks like we've made it out of old like corrugated tin or something.
It was made by a man called Brian in his garden shed. It's no reflection on anybody called Brian, by the way. It was just that's how it feels on his lunch times when he wasn't teaching physics to his year 11s.
It looks a bit Heath Robinson.
Yeah, I was just going to say Heath Robinson.
Looks like
Even looks like he lifted the corrugated iron off his Anderson shelter as well, right out of the garden.
Ever says he was always let down by the French second stage.
That's crazy.
Did he get a badge of Blue Peter, Craig?
Say that again, sorry?
Did he get a badge of Blue Peter?
Maybe. I know I got one years and years ago.
An old squeezy liquid detergent bottle.
Yeah, every Christmas they show you how to make one with Tracy Island.
Oh yeah. How many Tracy Islands have you got?
None. I was too old by the time that came round.
If you are looking for Thunderbird stuff, there's a whole bunch been released recently. I think all the Adventures in Plastic stuff has come out. So I think there's Thunderbird 1, Thunderbird 2 with 4 different vehicles.
Yeah.
Thunderbird 3.
Thunderbird 2 had Thunderbird 4 in it.
Yeah. So a lot of that. I'm sure there will be at Telford. So
I like looking for the when I'm certainly at the shows that I've been to, and I'm not going to Telford, is looking for the extras, looking for the masks and the 3D printed parts that go with kits. The detailing up parts, I always enjoy that because it gives you an opportunity to physically see it. So you're not committing yourself to a purchase online with the world's best photograph taken, and when it arrives, it doesn't look like anything like it. It's in reverse, the wrong colour and the wrong scale.
So the Edward stand is always really busy with people looking through. I can never do that, right? Because they bring massive boxes full of like photo action or stuff. And it's just like the last thing I want to be doing. You know, I've come to this place with all this stuff here. I don't want to be spending an hour looking through all these boxes to find out they don't have any of the particular details or whatever. So for stuff like that, I prefer actually to buy it online. Edward do actually bring quite a lot of decent kits though, which they also usually bring overtrees, which are the just the sprues. They don't have the instructions. They don't have decals or anything. But of course, the instructions are available on ScaleMates anyway, and they usually do them for really good prices. So that's always a good one, I think, for me. But you're right, Craig, about being able to physically see something. I mean, Edward stuff. You know what Edward stuff is going to be, right? But if it's a third-party manufacturer you don't know, and they are there as a supplier, then that's much easier because they've probably only got. If they've got between 50 and 100 products, you're probably going to be able to see them all pretty easily laid out. There are quite a lot of 3D printing companies that do that. There's one that specializes in sci-fi stuff. So they have like V. They'll have like figures from V and like the vehicles and stuff, things that probably are not economical for an injection molded company to make. But there is a fan base for them, Who mentioned Fireball XL5 before? Emma. I would love to do a Fireball XL5. It was before my time, but my dad had, I think it was an Eagle annual, which had Fireball XL5 in it. And I just thought it looked so cool. One thing I might actually buy at Telford this year is, oh God, what was it called? I'm trying to remember. There was an 80s Japanese, it wasn't quite anime. Guardians of the Galaxy, I think it was called.
Yeah, that's Guardian.
Yeah. And they had the Phoenix in that.
Yes.
And I saw at Telford last year there were some completed models of it, and it's just like, you know what, I might, as a kind of a childhood kind of goal to own a Phoenix, I might get one of those if there's one around. So,
I just reminded me that I was thinking of Terrahawks for a second there.
Oh my gosh, okay, way back.
I mean, Terrahawks, you just get a ball, spray it silver.
It might sound a bit weird, but this one, Shaun the Sheep stuff.
Yeah.
Is that for our Welsh viewers, Simon?
Yeah, Shaun the
Wayne's not here.
Kits that they did. Can't really did them.
Yeah, I mean, you can get anything, and one of the things I think is quite good at Telford is quite often there'll be stuff in second-hand like purveyors that they want to get rid of, right? So I did that Gundam kit, which wasn't a Gundam apparently, on the channel, like, what was it, a couple of years ago now, or 18 months ago or so. And there was just a whole box of those, and most of them were like a couple of quid of stuff. So it's just like, if you want to try something that you've never thought of doing before and just give it a go, there's plenty of that sort of stuff that people just want to get rid of. So if you're prepared to take a lucky dip almost, you can get quite a lot of stuff with not really a lot of money. Battle of the Planets, that's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Battle of the Planets.
Ninja Science Team Gotcha Man. That was the original title, was it? Good grief. Battle of the Planets. Yeah, that's the one.
It's a bit of a mouthful now. I think that probably sounded good in Japanese, but not particularly good by the time you extended it out into English.
Definitely.
My daughter's favorite was somebody had the Wallace and Gromit van.
Yeah.
She lost her mind. She's like, oh, she just, because my daughters they're both, I mean, they're 28, 26 now, but they just absolutely, it's like soul food for them is Wallace and Gromit. And when she saw that Wallace and Gromit, and it was on Sunday. Yeah, they saw it. She's like, oh, Dad. And then I looked it up, try to find one. It's like, 200 pounds or something. No, sweetie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was cool. That was really cool.
That's one of the good things I enjoy about shows is going to see what people have built and the quality and the standard that you can see, because there's stuff that you wouldn't even think about building, and when you get to see busts and figurines, and there's some amazingly talented people out there, and just to go out and see what they've got out, it's just nice, and then talk to them about it as well. It's good. I think the first time I went to Sword and Lance in Darlington, I landed on the Gisborough, I think the Gisborough Modelling Club, and that's where Steve's Model Shed, who does all the big ships. He was there. I hadn't seen him. He did a double Gannet a couple of years ago, and both of those were on the table, and I was talking to him about those and some of the ships. But there's just some absolutely wonderful models to see that people have done.
Yeah, and it's really eclectic as well. So, one of the things I think that's been happening more over the past 5 years or so, I'd say, is things like 40K stuff. So Warhammer stuff is a lot more popular at Telford now. So the whole mini painting bit as well. So not just, sort of Napoleonics, which was kind of the more traditional thing, Napoleonics, 120 millimeter World War II, that kind of stuff. But really anything you can think of. There was an absolutely amazing, oh God, I don't know the word, but like period Japanese woman with like the beaded face veil and stuff that I saw last year. Phenomenal. I don't know whether it's a geisha. Because the geishas are like
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
the entertaining ladies, aren't they? But this was a couple of years ago now because I didn't really get to see it last year. But just phenomenal. And like you say, Craig, especially on the club stands, because the competition is difficult because you don't necessarily know who's put it there, and you kind of go in, you see the stuff, and then you go out. Whereas the club stands, it's all there, and people are more than happy to talk about their models, So it's great for that if you see, and like I said, as an inspirational thing of going and seeing what people. And I've bought a lot of models at shows, particularly Telford, where I've seen something, I didn't have a particular interest in it before, but seeing it built made me think, actually, I fancy giving that a go, So I think there's a lot of different reasons to go to Telford. It's kind of like the same reasons that you would go to any model show, but turned up to 11, right? It's the Spinal Tap version of a model show. It's anything that you could normally see at a model show, you'll see at Telford, but more.
Yes, really. I agree.
No American model show that I have been to even comes close to what I experienced and enjoyed at Telford.
Yeah.
Hands down. Yeah.
Yeah. What I'd like to do, I think, next is go to the Nuremberg Toy Fair. I think, which is a different type of thing. It's more of a trade thing, but I think in terms of scale and thing, that's probably the next thing.
That I don't know how to pronounce it, Mozon or Mazon. It's the one that's in Hungary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That is supposed to be a pretty spectacular model show. That because I
Yeah.
follow channels on YouTube, and they're Central European or Eastern European or whatever, and they go, and it seems absolutely incredible. MOSON. Yeah.
Yeah, the standard of modeling, which is what I was talking about yesterday. It's just kind of another level.
Yeah.
I know there's one down at the Yorkshire Air Museum on the 15th of November, so that's the weekend. That's not the weekend after Telford. 15th, or is that Telford?
Yeah.
So I'll go to that one. That's an hour's drive for me. That's down in York. So and I've got an annual pass for that because I went early this summer with my son. So I can cheat.
Well, and just before that, this coming weekend on Sunday is the last Yeovil model show of the year. So if you're in the area, Yeovil model show is a pretty nice one. I think for me, as a one-day show to go along, it's kind of a nice size. They actually spread it over a couple of different halls, like 3 halls. One of which, if you've never been to the Yeovil model show, it's held in it's like an academy, like a sixth form side of kind of age school college thing. But one of the buildings is a positive pressure tent, which is an Italian built thing. It's quite a weird, unique thing. So it's a permanent structure, but its main structure is from air. So it's a weird thing. Going in the October show is always better than going. They also have one earlier in the year, usually in April, which I covered this year. Sometimes in April, if it's really nice weather, but it's like being in a greenhouse. The one this weekend can be okay. If it's cold, then it's like being in a fridge. But it's worth going to experience that alone. It's a weird thing. But yeah, I'll be going there. I'll be covering the show this year. So if you're in the area, not going to Telford, and want to catch up, that's what I'll be doing on Sunday. So
I was trying to convince my friend to go all the way to Yeovil from here, but he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, there's definitely not an early start to get to Yeovil. That is definitely an overnight before and an overnight afterwards.
Oh, it's an early start. You can do it.
Fleet Air Arm Museum's got to be a must as well. So that's a 3-day weekend straight away.
Yeah, Yeovilton is just down the road from me. So again, I get, you mentioned the Merlin, Craig. I had a lot of people in the past asking me about the Merlin. I have the Italieri 72nd scale kit in stock, but of course the only 48 scale kit of it is the discontinued Airfix one. So and again, if you wanted one of those, there'll probably be some at Telford. You would probably pay through the teeth for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't want one that much.
No, and it is the Army version, which is kind of like the wrong one, right?
Yeah, no, it's got to be nautically related, I'm afraid. Yeah. And the other one is it'd be nice to try and get my hands on one of the submarines, one of the T-boats, one of the Triumph class, because the last Triumph class submarine's just been decommissioned, so they are no longer seagoing. 34 years old as well, so makes me feel really old because it was actually commissioned after I joined the Navy. So yes.
So you've seen it come in and go out.
Yeah, well, thankfully I wasn't still in the Navy. I do know a few people that are still in now that joined at the same time as me. So,
Scout Model Apprentice says, did the Type 45 kit officially seal the fate of Airfix ships? They should do the QE class carriers, even if they are in their random 1/600 scale. I don't think it officially sealed the fate of Airfix ships. I just think they didn't sell well enough. Well, plus, if you think 2012 was when Hornby Hobbies bought Airfix, right? I think it was 2000, or was it 2016? I think it was 2012, wasn't it? 2016, I think, was when Phoenix Asset Management bought Hornby. So 2012, so it was the last of their kind of like old ships, if you like, old tools, as it sails by. Nicely timed, Craig. Nicely timed. Mine is in a box somewhere over there.
Oh, I don't want to break it.
Yeah, just don't look at the wonky deck marking.
Ooh.
No, the back end and the hanger's all done. But yeah,
It might float, John.
Yeah.
there's going to be some Hessian matting that's going to go on just where that is. Because obviously they have the Hessian matting on to catch the shells when they're firing the guns during training. So
Yeah.
I'm going to make some for that.
I don't think it officially ended it, but of course, any sort of line that Airfix do, I think probably when Hornby came in, they looked at all the stuff and looked at the profitability figures of them all, and were just like, well, how are we going to structure this business to be profitable? You know, and it's like, okay, we're going to focus on what we're good at. You know, we're going to do the vintage classics. We're going to be honest about that. You know, we're going to retool a lot of the old stuff. So they spend a lot of money retooling 1/72 and 1/48 scale kits that they'd released before. So if you think the Dornier, the Heinkel, the Spitfire, the Messerschmitt, the Hurricane, all 72nd scale kits, P51, you know, they've retooled all of these. They've got a whole range which they didn't have before. The Blenheim, you know, all these classic kits. And then they started doing the 48 scale kits. So, and obviously they were successful. People liked them. They sold. So they kept doing what worked. So I don't think it's necessarily off the cards, but I don't think it's on the cards either. You know, if suddenly there was a big change in the modeling community where ships were resurgent, I'm sure Airfix would return to it. But at the moment, ships are they're a niche of a niche, right? 50% of our hobby is aircraft. About 35% of it is then, it's more like 45% aircraft. About 35% is military vehicles. So you've already got 80% of the market in those two, and then the rest, that 20%, ships is a part of that 20%. So they're just going after where the money is.
You got sci-fi, you got figures, yeah.
And I have to agree with Alex there, because there's a local shop we go to, and it's got the 350th Tamiya ships, like the St. George and that one, and they've been there on the top of his shelf for months on end, they're just not shifting. And I mean, he's got them at reasonable prices, probably about under £100 each, but they're not. Nobody wants them.
Yeah.
And they're just dead stock.
Yeah, I mean, I have a reasonable amount of ships in the shop, because there are people that do come in specifically for ships,
and that's what they do.
And if you look at, but what ships do I have that sell? You know, it's things like I've got Titanic, I've got Bismarck, I've got Yamato. You know, it's, if you're looking for an obscure one, you know, maybe not so much. You know, the odd one or two, if they're not so much, because like you say, they will sell. It's how long they take to sell. Cash flow, of course, is important in a business. So, Emma said, I heard Dale say we won't do any more ships. So, yeah. If he said we're not doing any more, it's unlikely we're going to do any more, right?
I think it'll be Trumpeter that will probably pull out the Queen Elizabeth, and it'll probably come out in 1/350.
They've already put it out, Craig, in 1/700 scale.
They have in 1/700.
Yeah, and I think they'll probably, depending on how well it sells, they may do it in 350.
Well, it currently is out in that sort of neck of the woods at the moment. Well, certainly the Prince of Wales is. It's in the Far East at the moment, so they could be building their photographic library up to build it.
Don't know what you mean, Craig.
Well, you know, that's what they have Navy days for.
All Tammy ships are kind of bad. They mostly hail from the 1970s. There are better kits of all this subject. Well, I think
to me a ship. Yeah.
I think this is one of the issues though with ships in general, because if you look at those Tamiya ship kits, they're 1/700 scale, right? They're 1/700 water scale line. Oh god, what is it? Fujimi and Hasegawa also did the same line. They even called them the water line, like they had a collaboration between them. This is before antitrust, before the Enron scandal. But they all had those 700 scale kits. And I mean, a cruiser at 700 scale, there's not a lot of stuff you can put on with the limitations of injection molding. If you look at things like the Flyhawk kits, which are really good, but an awful lot of the stuff that you would say is bad in a Tamiya kit is etched. It's all photo etch. So, you know, injection molding has its limitations. Certainly did in the 70s. The flip side of that is the Tamiya ships are about a tenner. So, you know, you spend £10 and you can get a little heavy cruiser, you know. So horses for courses, as they say.
They don't carry those in shops here. The little Tamiya ships. It's
I've got some.
awesome.
Oh, the 1350s. Oh, I can't speak to those. Yeah. So I'll take it that they're bad.
What did I do? I think I did a Yamato, Tirpitz, and a Bismarck when I was still at school in the late 80s, before I joined the Navy.
In what scale?
I've always they've been 1350. I saved all my pocket money up. It was on and brush painting them as well. I've always, you know, my dad was in the army. I have no idea where my where my passion for ships came from. I know I joined the Navy, but I joined the dastardly undersea fleet. There's just, you know, I can give and take aircraft. I've got quite, you know, I haven't got a massive stash. I've got a fair selection of the stuff that I like, but I find it really hard to turn down picking up a ship. I think the big stopper at the moment is just the cost of them, which is I've got a very
reasonable 1350 Yamato, you know, to go with your other 1350 scale stuff. Compared with 1200s. Yeah.
I think once I finish this 1200 Yamato, I don't think there's going to be any other Yamatos for a while. I've got
700 scale. You could have like a whole series of them.
It's just that it's the long term. I mean, that's why I uncovered my ship tonight. It's I tinker away on the wooden one behind me because you know, I tend to keep it covered because I need to keep the dust off it now. But I'm finishing off the internals on that, and I know at some point I'm going to have to, you know, once I've actually made the masts, I'm going to have to start putting it all together.
I tell you what, I would like to make models of that I don't think really exist in injection molding are the ships of the kind of ironclad era. You know, as you're transitioning from where you've got sail going out, steam power coming in, you've got breech loading coming in from muzzle loading, ramming is still a technique, pre-dread. Yeah, it's like the invention of the turret. There's some wacky stuff.
I think wasn't the Warrior steam powered and sail powered?
Like the Monitor.
Yes.
Yeah,
and the monitors and all the American Civil War stuff. There was some really, I mean, the American Civil War had like one of the longest battles between two monitors, didn't it? Because the cannons, they were armored and really low profile, and the cannons just bounced off each other. So just
I think they finished throwing sticks at each other in the end, didn't they? They just ran out of ammunition.
They weren't doing any damage to each other.
It was the Monitor and I'll have to look it up. Oh, that's Grok.
Captain Nemo and the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Didn't one of them end Didn't one of those ships end up in the Sahara Desert, or is that just a book that I read?
That was the Philadelphia experiment, wasn't it?
Painting cloud.
Didn't Dirk Pitt go and find one in the desert full of gold?
In the
Now,
book
there we
series.
go.
Yeah.
There's a diorama. There we go. A what if Thunderchild from War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
With the tripod from the I would definitely do a diorama of that, of Thunderchild being melted by the tripod.
Oh,
from
the Merrimack. That's
front
it.
of Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
The mirror.
So Jason on Model Kit Stuff's talked about that because he's got the bits and bobs to do that. It's one of his I must do projects.
Yeah.
It's for that graphic picture that you can see that's on the original Jeff Wayne picture book that goes with the album.
Yeah,
that's a brilliant picture.
We would have to incorporate LEDs though to get the glow effects and stuff.
To get that the yellow effect of the explosion and the melting.
Anyway, ending on that note, everybody, thank you very much for turning up tonight and joining me and my guests. Hopefully, some of you will be at Telford. If not, if you're anywhere near Yeovil this weekend, I'd love to see you too. If you do see us at Telford, give us a shout. Come up. Don't be shy. I don't bite. So, and if you do want to join for some beverages and sustenance,
curry.
It's going to be curry. Then do get in touch on the Discord channel, or I say via the channel email, and we'll get some numbers together, get some plans together, and get those circulated so that we can all meet up. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, John. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Simon, for joining.
My pleasure.
Have a great rest of the week, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, everyone.